Welcome to the second episode of the Roblox Exploiting series. In today's video, we are going to be explaining how to reverse a game, the basics of Lua programming, and how to make your own script in order to exploit inside your favorite game. For today's tutorial, I'm gonna be using three different tools. We're going to be using an executor that you can pick whatever you want. Velocity has been my choice after trying to get one that is reliable, but this one is low level, so most of the functions are not going to work properly with some scripts. But as said, you can pick whichever you want, and for this game is more than enough. So we are inside a very old game, very basic. This one is easy to exploit, so for you to learn and understand how scripting works, it's more than enough. But as long as we progress in this series, I'm going to be covering more games and more strategies that we are going to be able to be using. So, as we explained in the previous video, the game internal structure can be seen using the Explorer. That is one script that I loaded. I will link it that below in the description. And yeah, basically here we have the Explorer and the properties that we already covered up in the previous video, so I'm not going to be over this again. And we have our RemoteSpy. The RemoteSpy is basically a script that intercepts the calls that the client is making in order to recreate them as we want. So for example, if our client says, I am making money, the server is going to receive the call and is going to award the money to the player. In this case, our way to earn money, as you can see when we swing our saber, is this remote right here. As you can see, my money is increasing, my saber is moving, and the remote event is being called. If we go inside and try to check it, as you can see, this is the code that to call this remote event. If we focus inside the code, we can see that it is using local event equals game get service blah 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 blah. What is this local thing? So in Lua scripting, well, basically in all type of programming languages, we have different boxes that we can use to store variables. This is very useful if we don't want to end, for example, with a code that have 1 trillion lines. In this case, we are using local to define the variable event that equals to game get service replicated storage event string saver. This means that we assigned a name to the variable that contains all this. So instead of writing all this piece of garbage that we want to use to exploit every time we need to call it, we only have to type event. It is like an organizing structure that helps the programmer a lot, and we can use it to store many different things. So let's focus in the second part. The second part is saying that game gets service. So this is acting as we talked in the previous video. It is getting everything. Let's say the game. We are going to get the service replicated storage. That is, as we can see, it is right here. We are going to, inside replicated storage, we are going to get the folder events with this dot. So we are going to hover inside events, and we are getting the remote event called swing saver. That is swing saver. There we go. The name is the same, so we found it. Now, we define it. How do we use it to take advantage? So we have to call our event variable, that is defined right here, and we are going to fire it inside the server. We know it works because if we press event and we replay it, focus here, as you can see, we are gaining strength. That means it works properly and we got the perfect code. If this is not the remote event that you are looking for, what you can do is test the other ones and try to find the correct one. So what we are going to do, we are going to catch the code. We are going to come inside our Visual Studio and we are going to paste it. Now that we have our definition and our calling line, we can make this automated. To automate things in Lua, we can use 3 different types of loops. We have the for, that will iterate a condition until we define it is not going to be done. Let's say, for example, for 1 in 10, repeat until the counter reaches 10. We can use also the while, that will execute a condition while the value that we give it it's being true. And we have the if, that is basically a conditional, but we can use it. The if basically is going to ask if this is true. If it is true, it is going to execute this line. If it is false, it is going to execute this line. We can also make it longer and place more options for the computer to choose with an else if, but we are not going to be using it today. So, well, at least for now, we don't know what we are going to be finding. So, the most basic one is going to be while. So we are going to be using while. We want to be this on every time that we join the game. So we are going to say true. And we are gonna tell him to do this thing right here. And we are going to close the loop in order to prevent the program from crashing. We are going to also add a little delay, because if not, the game probably is going to crash, and we do not want that. We are going to copy, we are going to come inside our executor, and we are going to execute our code. As you can see, every second the code is being executed, and without doing nothing, we are gaining strength. But here we will encounter our first problem. What is it, Latex? When we reach our maximum capacity, the script is not going to award us any more money. What do we have to do now? Well, as you can see, we have 2 buttons here. We have the sell and we have the upgrade. If we upgrade, we are going to increase our storage, yes, but it is not a reliable source for now. We need to sell it. When we sell it, we gain our coins. Okay, so we are going to come back to our RemoteSpy. As you can see, our swing saver is increasing, and we are going to try to execute the sell function. As you can see, it is below here. We are going to inspect the code, and as you can see, it follows the same path that we explained previously. If we try to execute it, it is going to sell our strength. Some games will probably lock it and will check the player position to check if you are inside this circle, but right now, if we come, for example, right here, and we execute our sell function, as you can see, it is working, so no more reversing is needed. We are going to copy our code, we are going to paste the code, and we are going to move the definition on top, because we want the definitions to be ordered and very easy to find. So Latex, I can see inside your definitions you have the same variable name for different events. How is this going to work? Well, indeed, it is not to work. Now that we have two different events, what we have to do is to assign a unique name to each local variable, because we are using two different things and we want the computer to find the one that we need to use. So the first one, we are going to call it swing, and we are calling the second one cell. Now we are going to modify the calling for this one to swing, and we are going to change this one into cell. We are going to move this inside the loop because we want it to first swing the saber and then sell it. We are going to copy, and we are going to execute our new code. There we go. Now it is going to be selling every time. Every part of the map that we are, doesn't matter, we are going to be selling. So now we found a way to farm. But what is the problem? When we get too much coins, the most logic thing that we should do is to upgrade our saber. And we could make an if statement to iterate all the table of sabers, but there is something that is going to make our work a lot easier, and it is this button right here. As you can see, if we press buy all, it is going to buy every saber, and it is going to equip the last best saber that we can afford. So once we press it, we are going to press yes. We see that we have a new UI action that is going to call another event. We are going to copy this, we are going to come inside our studio, we are going to erase these comments right here, and we are going to call this buy all. Well, now we are going to call it buy because we are not going to buy individual things, but we are going to call it buy saber. Okay. Why we are going to call it buy saber and not only buy? Because we have here DNA and we have class. It seems that we are going to be using this in the future, but not right now, so we are saving work. So now, as we said, we are going to move our definition on top. And as you can see, this code is different from our previous one. This is because our second code is basically passing an argument that you can see here in orange. The first one instead is firing the server our remote event cell passed, but this second one, by saber, is passing to the server the buy all weapons argument. We are going to test it to know if we are in the correct code. Yeah, as you can see, we bought our required thing. This is bugging, I just understand, because now we are gaining too much money and our inventory is being sold right away. So what we're going to do after selling, we are going to try to buy all the sabers. If we copy this and come inside the client and try to execute it, boom, it is now going to buy every saber that we can afford each time we sell. Now we can just repeat the process. We are going to get DNA and we are going to press buy all. We have a new UI action that we are going to copy, and we are going to do basically the same. We are going to move the definition up there. we are going to call this to buyDna, and we are going to move the logic inside our code. We can remove all these spaces that we have to keep the code organized, as this is only visual, but we cannot remove any of this. So now our code is looking more big and it's doing more things. If we copy it and we paste it inside and try to execute it, it crashed. Amazing work. Okay, once we fix velocity crashing like trash, we can test again. So it is not working. Okay, if your script is not working properly and you want to see why is it failing, you can press F9 key in your keyboard and it will open this, that is the developer console. You can also type inside chat, if you have it unlocked, the command /console. You paste this and it will open the console if you are in a mobile executor, but for now we are going to be using F9. So we can ignore this because this is from Explorer, but as we can see inside here, at line 13 of our script, it is attempting to index nil with fire server. If we come into our script and go into line 13, we are going to see that we forgot to rename this. So when the script swings, it works. It sells, it works. It tries to buy the saber, and it works. But when it tries to call this variable, it is being indexed with nil. In programming, nil is basically non-existent because 0 actually holds a value. If we see nil, it means it does not exist. We need to rename this to buyDna, and if we try to execute this code now, it should start working as expected. As you can see, now it is buying all the sabers and it is buying all the DNA that we want. Let's see, this one is 2k coins, this one is 3k, so theoretically it should buy the DNA. But Litex, this is not optimal, you will say, because I don't want to be farming all the time. I want to stop. For example, if a friend joins and I don't want him to see him exploiting, or I am tired of exploiting now, I want to stop, then what we have to do is to switch our activation function. Okay, in this case, while true that this will happen every time, so this will be on every second, we are doing all this. If we want to make, for example, a toggle like some GUIs have, that you can turn it on and off, you can create a variable. Ай, блядь, it is going to crash again. Сука. So, as I was saying, we are going to create our variable with local. Wait, no. Okay. In your normal script, you are going to use local because all the code is going to be run inside the same script. But for this specific case, where we don't have a GUI and the only way that we can change the variable is by executing again, we are going to use a global variable. Okay? The difference between a local variable and a global variable is that the local variables are only hold value for your local script, as the name says, and the global ones are for all the scripts that are inside your game right now. Globals are not usually used. This is because our global variables can be scanned by anti-cheats, and the local ones are not seen from outside our script, as we explained previously. So, to create a global variable, we are going to use _g. We are going to put a dot to start defining, and we are going to put the name of the variable. In this case, toggle. Okay. We are going to set the variable with one equal sign to true, and now we have to change this true to get the value from the global toggle. So we can copy this and paste it. Let's see if it works. We are going to come here. We are going to paste it, and as you can see, it is working. But if we change our global variable to false and execute it, the script is going to get all the values from this script, the local ones, because this is a new instance, and the global one is going to be grabbed from the environment. So if we press execute, as you can see, all the things have stopped. This is basically all you need to know to make your most basic script. The tutorial is already too long, so I am going to be leaving the rest of the things for a future tutorial. In that case, we are going to learn how to use conditionals properly, how to make a GUI or graph, for example, one from the internet that is open source, and more things. Let me know down in the comments if you like how I explain, if you think I can improve in something. Maybe my English is something I have to learn. But yeah, see you guys in the next tutorial. Bye bye.